hobbies that you're kind of dipping into and you were all about for a while, and then it just you either lost interest or you realized you just weren't good at it and you kind of give up on it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've started and stopped a lot of things. I don't know if it was necessarily that I wasn't good. I think I just talked to myself kind of out of it. Like,
Because you have a
there's
lot of interests. Like, you're into
yeah,
many things.
yeah. So I would say, well, in this vein, I have. I wouldn't say it's a failed hobby. I'd have to, excuse me, actually started it to have failed at it, I suppose. But I have a sewing machine. I bought a sewing machine, and I've told you about and stuff. And so, yeah, I got that sewing machine, and back when before COVID hit, I was even looking when I moved to Pasadena at taking lessons on learning to cut and to sew. Yeah, that was always interesting to me.
No one brought you into that world. You naturally just wandered into it yourself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I wandered into it myself. So much of it has to do with my college years, with my past, living a much very, very, very simple wardrobe. I had, a dress shirt, a white dress shirt. I would wear t-shirts underneath my outfit, and black slacks, black belt, and black dress shoes. I leave right out of high school, go to college, live this life of the white shirt and the black slacks and all that shit. But as I'm leaving, I'm like, who the fuck even am I? What am I coming into the world? So I was really intrigued.
You almost had an epiphany.
An epiphany. It had an apostrophe. I think you mean an epiphany. Lightning has just struck my brain. That must have hurt. A little hook reference. Yeah, I really didn't know what my appreciation for fashion came when I was searching for myself in so many ways. Like, okay, well, if I'm leaving this life behind, who even really am I? And how do I want to be seen in the world? And how do I, what do I wear? It's like, is this really the direction I want to take with my life? That's what I was asking myself. I was like, is this how it's going to go? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Because I don't know. I feel like I should be doing something, artistic for sure. But like, is this how I want it to go? What about you? What's a failed hobby for you?
I often wonder what would happen if I would have stuck with this as a kid. But when I was in elementary school, I was pretty damn good at drawing. I was into drawing like quirky monsters and stuff like that.
Cool.
We had like a little like box with pencils and shit and whatever, and so I'd like fold it up and put it in there, right? And I'll have like a little collection.
Your drawings you'd fold up and put in there. That's sick, dude. Okay.
It was probably inspired by like Godzilla and whatever, because my friend was super into Godzilla at that time, and I would watch it with him. I was never as into it as he was, but it's like people in the suits like fucking fighting each other, almost like the Power Rangers, like the Megazords.
Fucking sick though, dude. So cool. I loved it.
But man, I got to the point where like in middle school, I saw other people's doodles, and these are people that are like, they could basically be tattoo artists, right? Yeah. That's when I had this realization. It was like a reality check, like, damn, you fucking suck, bro. And that's when I gave up on it. I was like, damn, I'm nowhere near these people's levels.
Yeah.
Well, I think that perfectly lines us up with our topic today, being passionate about these things. And then we didn't let it get to the point where it was like consuming our lives. With this person, it does. So we're mobbing it.
Let's mob it.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Aflixionados podcast, episode 61. Our show is available wherever you get your podcasts, and new episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. All of our social accounts are bundled together for you in our link tree. If you enjoy our content, please consider giving us a like and subscribe. My name is Eric, and the other voice occupying your head this time is a man of many trades, philosopher, charmer, future librarian, fancy mattress owner, coffee enthusiast, former tennis player, now my good friend, former colleague and co-host, Michael.
Hey, y'all.
We mainly talk about films that range from mind-numbing to mind-blowing. TV shows and other forms of media are also covered from time to time. We will be getting into spoilers here, and there will be only the healthiest amount of expletives tossed in.
Fuck yeah.
You have been warned. If you ain't ready, then get ready, because in this episode, we will be discussing the romantic period drama Phantom Thread, released in 2017, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, Mr. Anderson. So this one, honestly, was kind of a curveball for me, because I was asking you like, all right, so what's next up? I was expecting you to kind of pull from something that you've mentioned in the past, but this one just came out of left field, and you're like, let's do Phantom Thread. And I had just seen that added to Netflix too recently, so I'm like, oh shit, I had never heard of this movie. So this is brand new to me.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I don't think I saw this one in theaters. I'd wanted to, but it was hailed. It was supposed to be Daniel Day-Lewis's final movie. This was it, no more. This is his final performance, done. And I was like, oh, I've got to see this movie. I have no idea what any of it's about. And when I found out it was about fashion, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I can't wait to see more. And yeah, so this one was. I'm so glad that you were down. It's very different. I don't think we've done. Have we done?
I don't know if we've done a drama like this before.
Yeah, this one's a slow burn for sure.
Certainly not a period movie.
Right.
I'm actually curious to see how this goes. But thanks for bringing up it being Daniel Day-Lewis's final role before retiring the second time. I guess he had announced himself even before the theatrical release of Phantom Thread that this was going to be his last movie, and he's just tired. He's taking a break, right, and he may not come back. He had previously semi-retired back in 97, and then came back. So I think he waited like 4 or 5 years before returning, and then I think it was like another 5 years before he actually came back again. And so now he's actually coming up in I don't know if the movie already released or what, but he's starring in his son Ronan's directorial debut film Anemone. And so I guess he helped co-write it, and his son's directing it, and so he felt that kind of passion return with this project, and so Daniel Day-Lewis is back.
Yeah, exactly.
Director Paul Thomas Anderson, he's one of those pretty consistent and impactful film directors, and some of his films include, but not limited to, There Will Be Blood, Punch Drunk Love,
oh fuck,
Magnolia, one of my favorites, Boogie Nights,
oh shit,
and most recently 2025's One Battle After Another.
Oh wow, that's the one with the DiCaprio.
Yeah,
it looked hilarious. There's some it's weird how the trailer portrays it. It's kind of hard to get a feel for it.
Right.
There were times where I was watching the trailer in the theater. I think when I went to see Eddington, and people weren't laughing at parts, and I was like, do they not realize this is funny? What he just said is absolutely hilarious given the context. But I was like, I don't know if people are. It looks like it's serious too, which is, I think,
yeah. I too didn't know what to really make of the movie. It certainly looked interesting. Leo always kills it in whatever project he's in. That might say a lot about that movie too, because Leo, I think, is in that stage where he is very selective about the movies that he stars in, and he only picks movies that he's really passionate about. And so that's One Battle After Another. So I'm gonna have to check that one out. Phantom Thread. The setting is like 1954 London, and the movie centers around the fashion designer Reynolds Woodcock, played by Sir Daniel Day-Lewis. He was knighted back in 2014. This guy creates dresses, right? So he's creating these garments for high society, royalty, and I think among that market, you could say, he's the go-to guy. Like, this guy he's really well known for just making like top-notch designs and dresses for people. So anyone who's anyone goes to Reynolds. Anyone that's like really into, like passionately into their craft, I think there's almost like an obsession and kind of like a controlling personality that comes with that, that's accompanied, right? It kind of makes me wonder, like, if you have to, in order to get to that level, if you have to be a certain way.
Yeah, a la Steve Jobs.
Right, yeah.
You have a singular vision, and you have a certain standard that you want to achieve, and you won't settle for anything less, and you end up bringing the best out of people. There's a scene, there's a point in the movie where there's a mistake made, and it screws up somebody's dress, and the standard that they hold themselves to is they're going to have this made exactly the way it was, and it's got to be done by morning, by like 5 a.m.
Fuck, no one's sleeping tonight.
But like, again, just that rigor, that standard, it's his name is associated with it. So you want quality, and obviously people will start talking about him behind his back, and people will stop wanting to buy any couture from him if he starts putting out crap. So
Sure.
he's very particular. He's a very particular individual. Things have to be very much just so. Not very go with the flow kind of guy.
Very
Very,
structured.
very structured. It needs to be a certain way. And it's obviously been successful for him because he's churning them out and people are still showing up. So it's really like how to help him. Everybody everybody that's around him in his life is there to help him to be more of himself, whatever that is, because it's
Right.
helping them to be successful. If he succeeds, everybody else succeeds. So it's in their interest to do things the way that he wants them done because they'll continue to be lucrative.
Oh yeah. Even before I saw the movie, I think I was mentioning, but I was like, just the side profile of Daniel Day-Lewis.
Mm.
I was like, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Rafe Fiennes
Yeah.
or even Jeremy Irons, right? Like any of those like more distinguished
Oh
kind of
yeah.
gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel, I mean, not, that's not a knock against him, but I was just like, he kind of looks like he could be either one of those other actors as well.
How dare you?
How dare you? So I wanted to get your first impression of Reynolds. Like when you're introduced to his world and who this guy is, and you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of seeing like how all these things revolve around
Mm-hmm.
him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about Reynolds?
um I think I was holding my breath while I was watching that scene at the beginning for a couple of reasons. Obviously, I'm trying to see where this is going. I'm trying to get a feel for what is this movie going to be about. I so love not seeing trailers. Although there are times where I'll catch them, I love being surprised by something.
Right.
There's something so special about that. So I only kind of had a vague idea of what this was about. So I'm really trying to see where this is going. What kind of person is he? What's the vibe? He had he was very particular with how he was, and I say particular, but he was very meticulous. I'll even say is more accurate. Very meticulous with how everything was going, how his morning starts. Really quiet. I think he's at like the breakfast table or whatever. But really, what set
Seems to
the
be one of
tone?
his favorite spots.
Right. Yeah, how he starts his day. It's something that works for him. He needs to have it that way.
He very much seems like someone that's like, if he doesn't start his day out right, then it's gonna just ruin the rest of the day, right?
Ruined,
Completely
ruined.
ruined. Like he can't bounce back. He's not very adaptable to situations. Like he's just like, all right, fuck it. Well, I guess I'll just try again tomorrow.
Which is so interesting that he is so stiff and yet so creative. He needs certain things to be a certain way in order for him to that's an interesting way of kind of looking at it now that I think of it. It's almost like he needs obstacles to be removed from his creative vision. So anything extraneous, anything that could cause him to have to kind of spend time thinking creatively is sort of like bleeding out that creative energy that he has that we only have in a day.
Sure.
Right. So it's almost like he needs that to be just so in order for him to just be able to, he needs the frame, he needs the structure of the day, the frame of the day to be the same.
Right.
So that he can be the painter within that frame and make these beautiful creations within it. But I will say that one thing that does set the tone for how you feel about the whole experience from the very beginning is the sounds that you hear before the title card. And then following the title card, you hear the Reynolds theme. And it's the music was done by Johnny Greenwood, and Johnny Greenwood is so he did the whole score, and he is one of the band members of Radiohead. You could say he's the lead guitarist, and he might very well be considered that at certain times. But he plays so many different instruments. He even plays the theremin, like the woo.
Oh, I love that thing. That's right? Like a sci-fi staple right there.
It's a total sci-fi staple, but the way that they use it in Radiohead, and as I think we've mentioned in several podcasts, I'm a big Radiohead fan. So for him to do the entire score, I was intrigued and so swept up. So the entire movie, I was just like, I got choked up. There's so much beauty in this movie, visually and auditorily. It's just such a delight.
Even the font, like the font was really elegant, right?
So elegant. Everybody contributed this to make this vision come alive, and it's so beautiful and breathtaking in so many ways. These shots, the cinematographer, there's we'll get into that later, but because it's just one beautiful shot that happens with he and the love interest in the movie.
Make sure you bring it up when we get there.
Oh, absolutely! I can't wait. It's the thing that I like when I thought of the movie and I threw it out there to you. This is the scene that I thought of, and it's going to be it's going to seem like such a throwaway perhaps to some, but to me, I just wanted to honestly see that again and feel that again.
Oh, okay.
It was so special to me. But I mentioned this about Johnny Greenwood because Johnny Greenwood, I'd be curious to see what his creative process is like, because I think that he's just so creative. And so for this guy to be so structured, and yet for Johnny Greenwood to be somebody who is a band member of a rock band called Radiohead, and yet he's doing this beautiful, elegant score that is just so classical music, these beautiful arpeggios, these beautiful trickling high keys on the piano, just for the
That was like the first thing that came to mind.
That's what it was. Callbacks. Amadeus. But yeah, just it's a delight to the senses, the whole experience of the movie. It's so much more than the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's all I can say. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, my initial impression of Reynolds, when I was seeing who he is and like how he is around people, he came off as a deeply passionate designer. And I was like, okay, like that was kind of like drawing me in, and just like, you know, like the close-up shots of like the sewing on stuff, but also a bit of a snob. That's where we're going with this. All right.
Yeah. Oh,
he certainly thinks highly of himself.
Oh, and again, goes back to kind of what you were saying before. Does one have to have that kind of self-belief, that kind of confidence in themselves? And 100% they do. It's almost like you have to bring that vision to the world, you know, despite what other people might say, and eventually it will be. It's almost like the book, The Alchemist, where it's like the world conspires, you know, whatever your vision is, the world will conspire to make it happen. So it's like he has this singular vision, and because he has a vision, and these other people are there to help him, they don't have their own specific vision, they're helping him. The universe does conspire to make his vision real. So having that confidence, projecting that out into the world confidently,
and carefully, meticulously controlling every aspect of his life. There's a reason why only the closest person to him is Cyril, played by Leslie Manville. That's Reynolds' sister. She kind of manages the day-to-day operations and kind of removes all of the obstacles in his way, as you were saying, so that way everything's more streamlined, because he's a well-oiled machine, and so she just wants to keep that lubricated as much as possible, right?
Yeah, keep things running smooth. Absolutely. And she herself is an enigma as well.
Yeah, she's kind of dedicated her life to helping him see out his vision.
She's such an interesting person. There's not a two-dimensional character in this movie. There's so much loveliness. There's so much interest in each character.
Oh yeah.
And her being one of them, as quiet as she is.
Right. And I mean, even though she's quiet, man, she commands a room.
Absolutely she does. Absolutely.
But like, she's making sure, she's like already like 5 steps ahead. Like, all right, so he needs to have his breakfast, and he needs to sit in his spot, you know, with the sun kind of like raining down on him from the back, and you know, he can doodle on his little paper, and I need to eat my food as quietly as possible. I gotta pour him his coffee at a certain time, so that way it's like when he's ready to drink it, it won't be so hot. Like, she's got everything down, right? In a way, she's almost like in charge of babysitting whoever his current girlfriend is at the time. So that's kind of an awkward role in and of itself.
Right. Romance is part of life, and it's almost like she's sort of, I don't know if I'd say that she's asexual, but I don't know if she's really allowed herself to make room for a person in her own life, or she's so consumed with making this, you know, with managing her brother's life and making sure everything goes well there. It's almost like she doesn't really feel the need necessarily to have that, but she knows that he needs it for his own creative process, and she's not trying to fuck that up. Again, she wants to have structure and everything. And so, yeah, at the beginning, she's already asking him if he wants to excuse this woman is starting to feel needy. The woman his girlfriend at the time when the movie starts, she's starting to be a little bit needy, wanting his attention more. But he's to know him is to truly know him is to love him, and that means to give him the space he needs to do what it is he does. And this woman starts to feel insecure and wants more of his attention, and now she thinks he doesn't have that anymore for her. And maybe it's true. Maybe he is losing. Maybe he's lost that spark. And this is sort of the process that he goes through. And Cyril is aware of this process, so much so that she's like already at the helm going, okay, should I be excusing her now? Has it reached that point in the relationship where so many have gone on?
Exactly. Like it kind of feels like they have gone through the song and dance a few times already.
You get the feeling for sure that this is something that has rinsed, repeated. He needs this in his life. He gets inspired, finds a muse, and then he
gets bored
suddenly he gets bored, loses interest. Whatever it is she does is just it doesn't draw him in. So again, he just begins to think that this is sort of the way life is. So much so again that he even says he doesn't think he would ever have a family. He has a very interesting perspective on life. Has no need for these things. And
his first love is his designs, is making these dresses.
It is, and in a way, it's almost an homage to his mother, who taught him everything he knows. She taught me my craft, he says in this soft-spoken way. For somebody who commands a room, for him to have such a soft-spoken way about him, he, don't get me wrong, does have a very powerful way of commanding a room as well. He can raise his voice, but yeah, he does. He's a man. I think he likes to say few words. With looks, he kind of
just glances. That's it.
Yeah, it's just all it takes is a simple look, and you get it speaks volumes.
Like, I've disappointed him.
That's it, disappointed.
And two very distinct things about Reynolds is that, as you're mentioning his mother, so it seemed like he was very close to his mother. She was already dead by the time this movie begins, but it seems like he has visions of her, almost like he's like haunted by her. The other thing about Reynolds is that he stitches hidden messages into linings of dresses he makes. So I'm assuming that's where the phantom thread gets its name.
I think it's I think it can be interpreted that way. I like that. I hadn't thought of it that way. It is, in a way, because it's a phantom, it's a ghost. Only those who know, right? But at the same time, I don't know. I would say I think that, since we haven't mentioned her name yet, I won't say yet, but I think that there's a person who could be perceived as the phantom thread in his life. The man, if he's the sower, if he's the one who brings it into being, then there's one thread through it that helps him to bring his vision to light at a time when he needs it most, because as we'll see as the movie goes on, he starts to fall out of fashion, or at least clientele aren't coming to him like they used to, and he's deeply hurt by that.
Right, yeah. Pretty early on in the movie, there's a very important client, a revered client, that he's designing a new gown for, Lady Harding. And Reynolds visits a restaurant. I think he's like just kind of taking a break, and he's working on the design for Lady Harding.
That's it. Needs to get out to the country.
Step away for a bit, take his mind off of it, go to his favorite diner or restaurant, whatever, and have his favorite meal.
Yeah, needs to get away on a holiday.
And it's here at that restaurant that he, some country house, right, kind of out in the sticks, like a more rural town. But he meets a foreign waitress here, Alma Elson, played by Vicky Creeps. He's immediately kind of infatuated with her.
Oh my gosh.
He wants to get to know her immediately.
That scene, it's so delicious. It's so palpable, the attraction between the two of them. I found myself smiling. I didn't even realize it was happening. I was blushing watching it all go down. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You're a spectator. You're like, ooh, damn.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Where's this going?
And I don't know if that exactly, like, I don't know if this is the way that the shots were framed, sort of, where you do feel like you're in there. And here's a man who's been so stern throughout the beginning of the movie. And so to see his face, to see him, the warmth come into his look and that smile, and you feel it. It's not it's why he gets paid what he gets paid. It's why he is Daniel Day-Lewis. He conveys it in such a wonderful way, and she does too, where she like trips. She comes into the room from the kitchen, and she sort of trips over herself for just a brief moment. It's nothing drastic. It's just a little her feet catch the carpet or
But
something
that is
like that.
the way that they wanted to kind of set her up. Like that was her introduction, was like, oh, she's kind of clumsy, and she's cute about it. Like
Yeah,
she's more go with the flow sort of a personality,
that's
which is the polar opposite of him.
in so many ways, and he's absolutely smitten, absolutely. And yeah, she comes over and she takes his order, and I just love that he's so infatuated with her even then that he says, can you remember the order? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, then I want to keep the one that you wrote down.
Let me
So she
test
hands it
you.
over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's not even so much that there is the test. Yes, there is that part of it. And it's like as if he just wants to increase the tension a little bit, just to test, yeah, to really just test her a little, for the simple fun of it, but also to have a little keepsake. The man he has his keepsakes, things. He's a very tactile type of person working in fashion. The fact that he
With his
sews
hands,
these,
yeah.
yes. And so for him to appreciate design the way he does, I mean, when she comes over to take his order, he's been sketching in his book some different design ideas. So again, each stroke means something for him. And so to see her handwriting, it's like he wants to keep this like a keepsake for himself.
That's his trophy.
Yeah.
Really quick, shout out to the shot of the camera mounted on the back of the car while I was driving. I'm always a sucker for those, right?
Thank you, 100%.
He was fucking hauling ass through this country.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. When he picks her up. Oh, yeah. So good. That shot is very much, what is that? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, those are always fun.
God, that's such a sick shot. It's like, it's gritty.
It's bouncing
like you
around.
feel like you're in it. Yeah, exactly. He's cooking.
Was it surprising that he would take an interest in a seemingly normal everyday waitress like that? You don't think he would go for someone like a little more like higher class, since he's so prissy and sophisticated?
So sophisticated. No, I believe that him showing that he can find beauty everywhere adds to his complexity. He's not so two-dimensional that he can't that somebody like her can't catch his eye. He can appreciate her beingness. There's something about her beingness that charms him. He has, and it's so interesting because again, he's such a stern, hard person, at least seemingly so, that you would think that he would be closed off to something like that, and yet he is deeply artistic, and his heart is open to this. And I think that's part of, again, his charm. I think the charm in how he portrays this fashion is, and it's why Cyril, I can't even think of the word, but not condones, but like would definitely like helps it, because because he gets inspiration from women. Yeah. So yeah, supports it. Exactly. So I don't think it's necessarily a surprise. It definitely shows, oh, okay, he's not just this I only date women that are princesses and things like this. No, he takes an interest and he wants to know more. He was very curious about her. I want to take you to dinner.
I love that answer because it was exactly what I was thinking. Like what I got from it was that he's a man that really appreciates beauty in many aspects and all forms, right? So and this is just a different interpretation of beauty, right. It's, if nothing else, maybe that's like the most endearing part about Reynolds, is that how he sees the world, because he can recognize beauty in things that like people just wouldn't pay attention to at all, such as like a normal everyday waitress, right? And obviously, there's kind of like that young naive girl being attracted to the older confident wealthy man. That's not an uncommon trope in movies,
Sure.
We've seen that in plenty of stories. But on the flip side, the way that I saw his point of view is that it's almost like a diamond in the rough sort of thing. Like he's in this very everyday plain sort of restaurant, and a lot of people would kind of maybe consider her being like very plain and not like the most gorgeous person they've ever seen. But I think like it was everything about her, the way she tripped and like she was able to carry herself with so much grace. And she still had almost like that confidence to still kind of shoot her shot over at him in the corner, like giving him that look, right? And that smile.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, but rolls with the punches. She
Yeah.
doesn't become sullen and beat herself up over it. No, she takes it all in stride, and there's something so beautiful about her taking what life throws at her that way.
And this is one of those rare treats that he allows himself, where because he's such
Mm-hmm.
a workaholic that he allowed himself to rizz up this attractive woman, and have a little fun for the moment, and
Mm-hmm.
just enjoy it for what it is before he gets back to business. Like that game that he was playing with her and all that stuff. He was kind of the one to almost initiate it first, right? Could have just like written her off and like, yeah, take my order or whatever.
You're right.
He was the one that initiated that game with her, and it's like, oh, so when he was ordering this food, I'm like, there's no fucking way he's eating all this. But I think he just wanted to kind of like show that he could afford all this stuff, and it's nothing to me, and
It's great.
kind of showing
Good
off,
point.
kind of flexing a little bit, but also like
Mm-hmm.
he was going to hit her with that game of like, so did you get all that? And she's like, yeah, I got it. And he was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna take that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
let's see how well you do. So I don't even think it was really about the food, honestly.
No, there's
It was
no
how
way.
he wanted to see how she was going to react to it.
That's great. Yeah, it's a great insight. Absolutely.
The thing that I don't think he expected is like how things ended up escalating between them. Because I think he was, yeah, we're gonna have fun. It'll be cool for a couple nights, and then I'll toss her like the rest of my girlfriends, or Cyril will be the one to kind of excuse them.
Right.
But yeah, things kind of escalate a little bit more between them, and I feel like that shows a lot about Alma as well, is because she has that attention to detail, much like he does, and I think that kind of
Mm-hmm.
impresses him. It's weird because the situation, if you're seeing it from an outside perspective, it could come off a little weird. Most waitresses don't get paid enough to put up with bullshit from patrons, and you got this guy that's like,
Yeah.
yeah, let me just go ahead and take that ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most waitresses would probably be super annoyed with that, but in like Alma fashion, she's just like, all right, I'm game, let's do this, I got you.
Right. There's an unspoken something going on between them that's given away by her blush when she looks over her shoulder and sees who's over there in the corner, and kind of chuckles to herself as she, after she tripped, walks over to the other table, finishes taking their order, then comes back. There's that brief, I mean, so much is said in a look, in an instant. Attraction doesn't have to develop over so much time. It can be an instant, love at first sight kind of thing. And he liked what he saw, and so did she. And so between the two of them, there's that subtext of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm game,
Yeah.
because she could have blown him off, and then that would be a rejection of the game, and therefore she's showing she's not attracted to him, or she's being difficult or something. I don't know, but she was showing, no, she was game.
She wasn't going to back down.
Mm-hmm.
That was exactly what he was hoping for. I think they talk a little bit after the meal, right? I don't even know if he actually eats it, or if they're just carrying that conversation elsewhere, but he invites her to dinner, and she accepts it, right? After all of that bullshit that he puts her through. The relationship begins to kind of blossom from there. So little by little,
Mm-hmm.
she's growing closer to him, and it seems like he's really attached to her as well, at least initially.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That is the case. I don't know if he sees deeply into her. I think there's an openness to him. He's intrigued. I mean, he's very curious about her and wanting to know certain things. So yeah, that all develops, and then that first night, he wants to make a dress for her.
Again, another flex.
Another flex, and also a creative pulse. He feels it. It's like a heart. It's like his heartbeat. And when he feels inspired, if you're that kind of a creative person,
Mm-hmm.
and you're that in tune with your creative energy, then it's like you withdrawing, right? When you had that piece of paper, you just, if you have this idea come to you, having your fucking tools ready, your box with your pencils and the drawings in there for inspiration or whatever, the fact that you could just get to it and start following your inspiration. Same with me with music and doing voice memos and just the fact that you can just do the thing. If you don't do it, then you might lose that inspiration. And he is feeling it. He's swept up in her, and she is, and Cyril knows this. She becomes his sort of creative drive. Suddenly it's like he wants to dress her, and the inspiration for dressing her informs all his other fucking dresses. So it's like the beginning of something very special, very real. And the fact that she's game and she's only wearing a slip, and she's basically
they
nude.
just met, and she's
They
wearing
just
basically
met.
in her underwear.
She's in her underwear. Yeah, it's very thin, and she's trying to cover herself up and whatnot. But
She's vulnerable,
right? And then there's Cyril in the room, introduces herself, and then immediately, like, it's just this
so awkward.
what it conveys. Yeah, there's that. But what it conveys is, number one, if you want to be in our world, this is how we fucking operate.
Yep.
This is what's going to go on. So if you don't like it, leave. Number two, this is how things go. He gets inspired, and I take measurements, and he just immediately is calling out so many measurements, so many. And she already knows how she's going to write them down, Cyril, in the book. And he's just calling them out with the tape measure. And there's something so, oh, I didn't even think about it until just now. It's kind of, it's such a beautiful poetry. He's taking her measurements with the tape. He's touching her body in order to take these measurements, her basically nude body. In a way, he is taking her form. He now has on paper her form, can make any dress for her, but this is her exterior. He now in some way possesses something of her. Not only that receipt or that ticket that she wrote all his order on, but now he has her measurements down. Very intimate to know a woman's measurements.
Probably in some way he knows her body better than she knows herself.
Precisely, in a way that she never knew herself, because she's not a fashion designer the way that he is. And so he now knows things about her that she doesn't even know, right? And she's watching this whole other language being spoken.
Because remember when he was like measuring her, and he was just like, "You have no breasts." But like to him, that wasn't a knock at her. She took it like kind of offensive, like, "Oh, that's kind of fucked up to say. That's rude, right?" I think she's still trying to kind of like keep her composure, even though like you can see she's offended by it. But because she realizes that he wasn't trying to offend her, he's just like matter of fact about it. It's fine. Like, I'm gonna make a dress that perfectly fits your body, breasts or not.
Right. Exactly. And then Cyril, to kind of like, in the Woodcock family seems to just kind of be this way, but she says, "Oh no, he likes you have the perfect shape." And she goes, "Oh," it's like, yeah, a little he likes a little pouch, a little pudge in the belly. And she's like, God. "Oh, it seems like a fucked up thing to say."
These are all the things that like women typically do not want to hear.
and yet it is exactly what attracts him. And his sister would know, wouldn't she? Right? She takes all the measurements of all these girls.
Yeah, she's not saying it in a snide way.
She's really not. She's really not, and it can be taken that way. But again, hit the bricks if you can't hang. You know what I mean? There's no ill will meant toward her. If you want to, if this is some place that you want to be, if you still see yourself here, even after you hear us talk this way, and they're not rude, they're just very direct. Then if you still see yourself here, then you're one of us. But they're not going out of their way to be polite company and then behind her back talking shit. You know what I mean? That's not it at all. They're kind in that they are direct, and they're letting her into their world.
They take their work seriously. So there's no time to like fuck around, When it comes to work, everything is serious.
Everything is serious. Everything matters. Everything matters. Absolutely. There's so much of himself put into all of this work. He pores over it. He slaves over it in some sense. He really, he is almost like a slave to his own vision, so to speak. He'll be up late hours in the night.
He wakes up randomly and he's just like, "Oh, I have a design. I need to draw it right now."
That's it. Yeah. There are times where she comes to his room, much later on as they've become a couple, and she wants to get frisky.
Yeah, she wants to kind of like snuggle up a bit, but no, he doesn't have time for that right now.
Right. There's at least one time where they do, but then there's another couple times I think where she comes by his room and he's like, I'm working.
Damn, through the door.
And she's like, "What?" And then like Cyril comes by her and he opens the door for her and then closes it.
Bumps her out of the way.
Yeah, it's a very unusual way of life. But
I will say, like, the process of the dressmaking and all that stuff, because, that's such a big part of the movie,
mm-hmm.
and how he's like choosing different colors and he's like draping it
Oh
over her shoulders
yeah,
and
her
stuff. And
shoulder.
he ends up going with like that magenta-y kind of color, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With like how much they're building up his crafting ability. I was a little disappointed with that first outing that he made for her, because he wanted to make the perfect dress. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's not really what I was expecting. Like when they showed the next day and she's like wearing the full completed outfit, I was like, okay, that's fine.
What were you expecting? I'm curious.
Probably something like a little bit more ornate, I guess you could say.
Ah, yeah,
But it
yeah.
does make sense because that's kind of like the test run, right? It's like let's see how she does. Like, is she worthy of wearing my stuff? And if she is, then maybe I'll go a little bit more elaborate from there. And I'll tell you later what my favorite one is. But
Mm,
maybe it's just not my style. Maybe it felt like it was a
mm-hmm.
little bit too just kind of flat and boxy looking and one color, nothing else on it.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what it was meant to convey, if nothing else. If it wasn't just the style of the time, maybe that's kind of how he sees her and doesn't want to overdo it, doesn't want to take away from her or something. I don't know, but I did like the sleeves. I did like that. I like the clean lines, but yeah, it was nothing like to write home about per
Sure.
se. It suited her,
Hmm.
but other than that, it was nothing spectacular.
That'd be fun if there's just like the whole midriff was empty because it's like, I want to show off your pouch.
I want that. I want to see that sick gut. Let me see that gut. She's like, it's not. It's not even that big.
That I mean, that kind of reminds me of the conversation in Pulp Fiction. And you remember Butch is talking to his girlfriend about it. Like, yeah, I love pot bellies. I think they're really sexy. And they have that. There's like a whole like 8-minute conversation talking about that in Tarantino fashion, right?
Of course.
That's kind of what it reminded me of. Like just talking about like, oh yeah, you have the perfect form. You have a little pouch going on there,
Yeah, a
little
little pot.
pooch.
Gotta show it off. That midriff.
Dude, I actually really like that fashion show that they do. They hold it inside their house too, and so that was kind of
Yeah.
cool. And they invite everyone to like the second or third floor, and they kind of use the
Mm-hmm.
hallway as like the runway. And so I thought that was cool. What'd you think of that? When she's modeling one of the dresses, she walks to the very end of the room, and she like stops and poses for the door because she knows that Reynolds is like looking through the
Watching
peephole,
through the peephole.
and he
Yeah.
only does that once for her.
I mean, if what I said is true about her being his muse, which that's not untrue, that she definitely becomes his muse.
Mhm.
But if that's the case, and if that dress that he's made for her, or if she herself, just her figure, her form, her beingness, is what's inspiring him to make these dresses, then seeing his very muse, where the inspiration for all this couture, walk and capture the very woman who is inspiring all this, that's what matters most, because she's the one that everything else comes after. So yeah, I could see him taking pride and taking a gander at her when she approaches, and he really does take pride in her
Right, right.
himself, just in her intrigue, in her form, all of it, despite the stress and everything that comes with a fashion show and
Sure.
all that. Yeah.
Damn, and like managing all the models, making sure all the looks are on point before he sends them out. Even one of them,
Mm-hmm.
he was like chewing someone out. He's just like, "Why are you just
Just
standing
go.
there?" You know,
Mm-hmm. One point he's just like, just go, just go out
it's
there
fine. Let's
already.
go. Yeah, I think after that, he looks like really exhausted, and that's when he's just kind of sitting in the car, and she's looking at him. She's like, "Do you want me to drive?"
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting because when he's not feeling 100%, he's a little bit more emotional. He opens up a little bit more to her. That was kind of unusual for her. But then once he's good to go again, he becomes more aloof, right? And he becomes like his
Right.
finicky self again.
Precisely. Yeah, she's very perceptive with this. Other girls before were too busy trying to please him to understand, to pay attention to these things. She says at that point, you see, when you love your work and you can give like he does, you need to come down again.
He's like a
And
baby.
then he's a baby. Yeah. Like a spoiled little boy, or like a spoiled little baby. When he's like this, he's very tender, open. And then the guy asks her, "How long will these episodes last?" The doctor. You
Mm.
don't know this yet, but it's the doctor. And she says, only a few days, and then he's well again. So she saw that, saw what it did, saw the bigger picture. She sees this pattern of behavior and sees that the difference in his output and the difference in his demeanor as well.
Yeah. I think she did pick up on it initially, but I don't think she knew how she was going to use that yet. Like she just kind of, she just noticed it.
She just, and exactly at this point in the movie, that quote that I jotted down, I kept pausing the movie just to get this quote because I was like, motherfucker, this was it. This is my second time watching the movie.
It says a lot about Reynolds right there. That's huge.
It does. It is massive, and it's an important part of the movie because later on, what happens won't surprise you. But I didn't quite see it then. I was like, "What's going on here? Well, they're making some. They're talking about what time is this now compared to where they keep showing it."
It comes off like she's narrating the movie, but then it cuts to her talking to someone, and you're like, "Who's she talking to?" And so she's spilling like these intimate details to someone about Reynolds, and then it cuts back to the movie.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, the scene before this, and it's also in the same vein. It's very telling. Here we're talking about how she is catching on to these subtleties. She's catching on to his patterns of behavior. The output, when you give like he does, you need to come down, right? She sees him do it, and then it works for him. Suddenly he's ready. After a few days, he's ready to come back and he's good to go. Before that happened, this is the scene that I wanted to see all over again.
Okay.
It's when they're on this hillside, and the way that the scene is shot is it's they're walking kind of toward the camera. The camera is sort of at an angle, and you're seeing the ocean and just the green, and then again like the ocean or lake or whatever is behind them. And he says, "I feel as if I've been looking for you for a long time." And then she says, "You found me. Whatever you do it carefully." Just that whole moment in the music and seeing just the beauty of the cinematography, all of it was just, I was like, I want to see this movie all over again for that scene.
Everything is gorgeous. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Oh, so these episodes, so she makes note of this after this big fashion show. And it's funny because he says, I feel I've been looking for you for a long time.
Yeah. So what does that mean, right?
Right.
A lot of the signs are subtle, like when he's feeling down, because he was just like super fatigued, right, and overworked, and so he just kind of needed to take a break for a little bit. And so she walks up to him, and she's taking care of him. The big telltale sign is that he reaches out for her for comfort, right? He grabs her hand. She picked up on that sign, whereas like maybe other girlfriends, they wouldn't have understood what it is that he wanted, right? They're like, oh, maybe he just wants to be left alone, but he wanted to be babied and pampered, right. And so she cuddles with him. That was like all she wanted, like she just wants that affection returned. What did you think of the breakfast scene? Because we kind of return to the beginning of the movie. Oh, and she's like purposefully like just buttering the shit out of that bread, just like raking it, right? What's interesting about her is that she's willing to challenge him too.
Yeah, as if she doesn't know, but also it's almost like she could be also oblivious to how it's bothering him. I almost wonder if the sound itself is just amplified because you're seeing it sort of from their perspective of Woodcock, and then of Cyril being like knowing that this is bugging him. So those two people, it's almost like it's purposefully done so that everybody, because no other time does it seem like it's that annoying. It almost felt like you're in their perspective and having been in that room with them before, and now her just being very oblivious to, I'm just doing things the way I normally do them. I always have this with my toast, and it's like she's not paying attention to just how, for somebody who's paying attention to how that affected him before, how he's affected by working really hard and then needs this time to come down. She's not paying attention to simple things in life, like her buttering her toast or whatever she was doing.
I initially thought that was the case. Maybe she was just oblivious, right? Unaware of how she was coming off. But after he tells her to stop doing it because she's annoying him, she keeps doing it. So that's what led me to believe that she's just like, stop being a baby, like relax. I'm just buttering toast.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. I think now that she's no longer oblivious to it, she's like, this is unreasonable. Come the fuck on. I'm just buttering toast. Like,
it's not like Cyril's like being a bitch to her or anything here. Like, she's just telling a strip, like, this is how he is, and you need to respect that. And she's just like, no, dude, like, he needs to fucking grow up.
And it's not as though she doesn't put up with some of his idiosyncrasies as well. So it's kind of like, come on, I put up with some of his shit. He can put up with some of my shit.
Man, this is around the time in the movie where I was kind of thinking to myself, I wonder if Reynolds is autistic. Either he's autistic or he's like on the spectrum in some fashion, right? He's hyper focused on one thing. He likes structure. He likes sticking to a system. If anything deviates from the norm, then, he immediately gets agitated. I feel like in a lot of ways that allows him to be so great at what he does, and he's able to operate on a level that none of us can achieve.
Right. Yeah, there is that. I do know though that there are no other point in the movie do you really see him complain about sounds, for instance. So it's not as though there's like he has a sound sensitivity. I was thinking about that statement that you made, and so I'm thinking, yeah, I wouldn't say that it's a sound sensitivity. It's almost like because he becomes super hyper focused, anything that could potentially be distracting is amplified because his intentions are to be really, really focused. And so, yeah. I mean, it could be argued, I'm sure, that he's somewhere on the spectrum, perhaps. I mean, it is a spectrum.
And the way that he needs to be so attended to and taken care of, it kind of makes me wonder, like, what was his relationship like with his mom? The women in his life, Cyril and Alma, basically have to be his mom at times.
Right. They do have to take care of him, tend to his needs.
Maybe he has like mommy issues or something that we don't know about, because we don't really get to know much about his mom or what his relationship was like with his mom.
Well, he certainly does have some attachments to his mom. He says toward the beginning of the movie, he says it's comforting to think the dead are watching over the living, when he's talking about his mom.
And obviously he still thinks about her regularly because he has the visions of her from time to time in the wedding dress, which is kind of interesting because that was the last thing he made for his mom, I believe, was her wedding dress.
It was. Right. And I think that also has something to do with what he had taken before. Could have been, I don't know, they don't allude to it being some sort of hallucinogenic, but he was sort of knocking on heaven's door. Wow.
But yeah, speaking of hallucinogenics, at some point Alma she's just like looking for busy work. I don't know if she's like necessarily needing to help out in the kitchen, but she finds herself like maybe she wants to learn a new skill, so she's like, oh, let me help out. And not unlike how you hung out in the kitchen a lot and you learned Tagalog, right, that way.
Right.
So it's like you're kind of getting to know the staff a little bit and you're increasing your culinary skills. Part of the process is going out and picking like fresh fruits and vegetables. And so she's picking fresh mushrooms out of like the nearby forest or some shit. They tend to grow like near the base of the trees, right? And so she's like, well, what about this one? She's like, oh no, the safe ones to eat are the ones without gills. So it's kind of used as a throwaway line, but that's like a huge moment in the movie.
Very big. Absolutely. I took note. Harvesting mushrooms, and she's learning how to tell which ones are poisonous from those that are not.
Kind of like, when you're like scavenging for berries or something, like there's certain ones that you don't want to eat, or there's like certain plants you don't want to touch, like poison ivy. And so you don't really think like, oh, how are they going to use this later on as a weapon or, like to benefit yourself in some way? Like you just think about like, all right, avoid that and go with these. This was probably one of the most heartbreaking moments in the entire movie, was when Alma was really adamant about having that intimate, just kind of dinner at home date with Reynolds and herself, just them two, no one else. She felt that Reynolds would really enjoy that, and that's kind of what she needed because it had been a while since they had been close, and so she just kind of wanted to pull him away from work a bit and just spend some quality time together. Cyril is really advising against this. She's like, trust me, Reynolds is not going to like that. I don't think this is a good idea. And Alma's like, no, it's fine. Like I want everyone out of the house and I'm going to make dinner for him tonight and it's going to be awesome. She was rocking that red dress and everything. I was just like, oh no. Because even before anything went down, I was like, oh, this is going to fucking go up in flames. I just know it. Just the way that this whole dinner scene played out, how'd you feel about it?
No surprises. I mean, I guess maybe the first time that I saw it, it's just like you feel for her.
And you understand where she's coming from, right?
You do, but at the same time, knowing he's got his idiosyncrasies, knowing that he likes things a certain way,
It's kind of what you signed up for.
you signed up for this, and your neediness, your insecurity is starting to get in the way of how he does things.
She was almost slipping into that same routine that happened to all of his past girlfriends.
Precisely, it's exactly what's happening. And this dinner scene comes about, it's prompted by him welcoming a princess, and this princess is going to be married, and Alma gets jealous because this princess is gorgeous, and so he's very familiar with her, so she's feeling that jealousy. In fact, actually approaches that princess when she's getting done up.
Remember when she got like brushed off earlier in that day? Like,
oh,
she was
right.
standing there,
she's greeting everybody.
Yeah,
in line,
skips
and then,
right
and
over
then that
her.
princess, just shakes the hand of a couple people, and then she curtsies and totally gets blown off.
Yeah,
and all the rest of the staff gets blown off from her point on.
And you see, you definitely feel that reaction from her, right? Like she's just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, you see that, and then afterwards, later on, she approaches her and she's like, "I live here." She's like, what does she say? Something like, she introduces herself. "Hi, I'm Alma, and oh yeah, nice to meet you. Okay, I live here."
We didn't get to speak earlier. Oh, by the way, I live here.
I live here,
bitch.
And then she just right, and just turns around, walks away.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, okay, that's what that was all about.
Damn.
Okay,
So but see, that's what I like about her, was that like she was hurt by that. She felt disrespected, and she wasn't gonna back down. Almost feisty.
Right. Like, exactly, and I like that too. The fact that she didn't just take that and feel sorry for herself. It's attractive. She just asserts that and makes sure, like, hey, like, I do live here. I deserve some respect, sort of, you know what I mean? Like, so just know that I live here, and I'm not like anybody else.
Yeah.
Not like anybody else here. So.
Oh man. So yeah, and again, the dinner scene, it's no surprise that it goes up in flames. He comes in and he immediately, you can tell that Reynolds isn't feeling it. He feels uncomfortable. He's like, "Uh-oh, where's everyone? This feels strange. I'm not used to this." And then he sees Alma. "Oh, Alma, yeah, you're up there. Nice dress, by the way. So where's everyone?" And she's like, "Oh, I sent them away. It's just gonna be us two. I made you dinner." And he's just like, "Oh, great.
Why'd you do that?"
He initially was trying to say like, "Oh, I'm not gonna have dinner. I'll probably just go to sleep or whatever. I'll go to sleep early." And she's like, "No, have dinner. I made it for you." She made like asparagus, and she was like, "Oh, try one." And I mean, to his credit, he tried it, and he was gonna kind of just keep his thoughts to himself. But she's like, "So what do you think?" And he was like, "Well, that I have my asparagus with oil and salt, not butter. So you fuck these up." And so he was, he's just being straight up, but I don't know if he was like trying to be hurtful here or if he was just being his normal direct self.
It looked to me, I don't know how it felt the first time, but I can say this time, it really felt to me like she insisted. "No, really, tell me." At first he was like, "Oh no, they're okay," but is obviously the way that he's eating it and everything, it's showing that he's not really being truthful. And so she continues to insist, and then he's like, "Well, if you insist." And then he proceeds to tell her exactly what it is, but he doesn't do so again in a hurtful way. He's a little angry, but he's telling her just flat out, like, that I like my asparagus done a certain way. And then her response, much like the same time with the toast, "Oh, whatever, he's being a big baby." She's like, "I wanted to cook it for you the way I like to cook it." And he's like, "Do you fucking know that I don't like it cooked this way? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Are you doing this for me, or are you doing this for you? What the fuck?" And
things escalate from there.
Yeah, and then that's when she's doing the whole asking him about the princess. How was your evening with the princess kind of thing, and then he gets really upset about that. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't even know why I brought that up. I don't know what came over me just then. How's that?" And, goes on with the dinner, or maybe that preceded the whole asparagus thing. But like, yeah, her insecurity, which for me, that was the thing that was starting to like get to me a little bit, was like, "Oh no, you're going down that road."
Yeah.
You're going down the road of the same other girl, but you're so much stronger than her. You're so much you're so much more poised, and you know yourself better. You don't seem like the type.
You can only keep that going for so long. She's starting to break down.
Yeah. You need some affection. Because he's so withholding, because it's like, is it always on his terms?
It's always on his terms.
This relationship, exactly. So it's like, how is that fair? you
Right.
know. So things come to a head.
Dude, he
Things,
he he straight up says like I'm being ambushed here, you know, and like he immediately gets
yeah.
defensive. Like he's almost being childish about it, right? He's like, "Do you have a gun? Are you here to kill me?" And like it's just like, what does any of this have to do with anything, right? But it's like he's purposefully kind of throwing fuel on the fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was looking for an argument, right? But in some ways that tends to happen because that's the only attention she's going to get from him.
In a way, yeah. And the thing is, it's she has needs that aren't being met either.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all just about, you know, can you stick it out with us here at this house? It's like, how does she get her needs met when he's so solely focused on his work? And so it's kind of like, well, to be with him is to also understand that he's so driven. This is who he is. He's kind of a workaholic.
Yep.
So yeah, take it in stride. So again, very perceptive.
Oh yeah.
And now angry.
Yeah. Alma, she's kind of done being disrespected and taking people's
Yep.
shit. So
Yep.
she recalls a little detail, right, that someone told her back when she was in the kitchen learning how to cook, or helping out cooking. She was told that you only choose the mushrooms that don't have the gills because the ones with gills are poisonous. So, you know, with that little tidbit in mind, she poisons Reynolds' tea with some wild mushrooms, and it's safe to say these are the ones with the gills.
Mm-hmm.
So she puts that in there, and I don't even know if she fully understands like what the effects are going to be.
Know.
She just kind of
they
was
don't say.
let's see how this goes. That could have killed him, you know? Like,
Yeah,
what if
100 fucking
what if his heart just stopped?
I thought exactly. I was like, when that happened and she did that shit, I was like, is this gonna be that kind of movie I'm watching? Is this about to take a turn? I thought it was about fashion, and it's gonna instead be about her killing him and then covering up the body and like, yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, where's this going?
Did you think that she was actually trying to kill him, or was she just trying to like make him sick?
The first time I saw it, I really did think I kind of thought she was trying to kill him.
I thought so too. Almost like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith sort of situation going on here. Like, I don't know if can I trust you? I don't know. Do you know that I know that you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking the first time I saw it, and again, this is what I based my recommendation of the movie on for you, is I was like thinking, yeah, I remember thinking that she was trying to kill him, and that it didn't work out that way. So she went with it. She kind of zigged because it zagged on her.
Oh, it was almost like a blessing in disguise, right? Because
yeah,
it's like oh blessing. Shit. I think she was remembering how he was when he was sick. I guess in a way I could see it where she was just trying to achieve that same end goal. But
I'm done waiting for this. Yeah, I'm done waiting for this to fricking just happen on its own. He's at a point now where he was a total asshole, and then because there's no fashion show to kind of like spend all his energy on, he's reaching this boiling point of being a total fucking dickhead that is hard to just be around. So it's almost like in that vein, yeah, going back to again that quote, because this happens long after she has this little chit chat with this narration portion that she's having with this person off camera, of him needing to come down again and then being a little baby. So it's almost like she's angry, but you realize she's doing this because she cares.
She still loves him, and that was the thing. Is like no matter how upset she is and like she feels disrespected and annoyed or whatever, I don't think she was at the point where she wanted to fucking murder him. Like she still loves him. So I think that's why I don't think she was necessarily going for that.
No, but she's angry. She's angry, but she's like, she understands him. She understands him better than he understands his fucking self, which is interesting.
She's the one that kind of like shows him how he is and how he needs to be, which is that's kind of an interesting sort of a shift in dynamic there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She almost poisons the tea at like the worst fucking time, right? Because they're finishing up the wedding gown for the Belgian princess. Reynolds is kind of inspecting her, right? So he's walking around, all of the seamstresses are kind of lining the wall, and he's just he's kind of like looking at it,
he's circling it,
he's like, yeah, it's good, except one thing, it sucks. And then he fucking like falls on it.
Yeah, he's like, it's terrible, and then fucking just passes out on top. And then they're like, oh my gosh, he tore this, and then he got like he stained it with shoe polish.
Yeah, because he stepped on it.
Yeah.
Why do you think he verbally bashed the dress? Because I almost felt like You know, he was already kind of sweaty and he's like like clearing his throat and all that stuff. And so he was already feeling like really off. And so I think in a way it slipped out, like the fact that like he feels like shit. I think that just like almost slipped out verbally, and it looked like he was taking it out on the dress when he was just kind of saying how he felt. At least that's how I interpret it.
I could see
they just made it exactly the way it was before. You know?
To a T. Yeah. Yeah, I took it that way, that he was projecting his own sickness onto the situation, him not feeling well.
Yeah.
He's not perceiving it the way that it ought to be perceived. He's sweating profusely and he's choking back whatever
Dizzy.
the fuck. He's like, yeah, he's dizzy. You could tell he's squinting really hard. So he's not his normal self. And so what he's perceiving is through the eyes of somebody who is sick. So number one, I totally would see that. I can also see it as being, he's just being hard. He's reached that point now where he is so sick, it's reached a head, but it hasn't popped yet. So he's still being ornery, you know what I mean? Like he's been with Alma, being an ornery, bullheaded jerk.
Trying to stay composed.
But just trying to stay composed. And so he, instead of it's not even like there's anything wrong with it. I think he's just being an ornery asshole and doesn't feel well and just tries to be just real quick about the whole thing, except that it's terrible, and then falls flat on his face.
Yep. Dude, yeah, rips the shit out of it, because it's like the whole front part that's like covering the chest is like lace, so he just like rips that shit.
Oh yeah, delicate lace, beautiful. That dress is, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest, that was my favorite dress.
Oh, okay. I mean, that was a gorgeous dress.
Stunning. I'm not gonna lie. Gosh, the bust is that lace. Oh god, so elegant. Yeah,
not that I have like a refined taste in dresses or anything, but just like objectively, I think that was like definitely one of the best dresses.
Yeah, I agree, but it's not my favorite outfit.
Okay.
I'll tell you what my favorite outfit is when we get to it.
He's feeling sick, right? And this one actually looks a little bit more intense than before, because I think before he was probably just exhausted.
Exhaustion.
But this time he was actually poisoned, right? Things are coming out of his body from both ends, and he's really feeling down right now. I think he actually thought he was going to die.
He did.
Cyril certainly thought he was going to die, and so she called the doctor, and Alma's like, no, it's fine. I got this. You know, I'll take care of him, because that was all part of her plan. Mm-hmm. And so the doctor comes in, and Reynolds actually kind of tells them to fuck off.
Quite literally tells him to fuck off.
Yeah. When he was in that state, almost like when he was feeling down more intensely, he leaned on Alma even more. Mm-hmm. And he was like, now he doesn't even want Cyril in the room. He doesn't want the doctor. Like, he only wants Alma. That's who he wants taking care of him. Mm-hmm. So, and Alma's like, you heard the man. Fuck out of here.
He needs me.
Mm-hmm.
Punch drunk love. Boom.
Felt so intensely towards Alma around this time that when he recovers, he immediately just like proposes to her.
God, that scene was one of the most gorgeous scenes, hands down. The morning light streaming through the window. She's asleep on that beautiful couch with the covers pulled over her, and she's got a blanket completely over her.
Yeah. And
he comes down in that robe, and you can hear the traffic kind of passing by the window and everything. And fuck, that whole and just that slow approach, that dolly shot as it's just slowly coming into the room, and you're there and you're in it, and she's still just kind of wiping the sleep from her eyes, and he's already proposed and he's waiting for a fucking answer, and she's still just waking up, but he's over here, he's been awake, he's like, yes, I want you to be excited for this. And from a cold sleep, she worked her ass off all night, right? With all the others.
Yeah, she was helping out. Yeah, the other seamstresses. Yeah. And so yeah, she's exhausted, and he's feeling a lot better, and I think he's just euphoric at this point. And that's where he says something like, a house that does not change is a dead house. I remember him saying that. And he's just like, so is that a yes? Can I get an answer? She eventually accepts.
Yeah, eventually.
So yeah, this was kind of nice. You know, this was a more of a high point in the movie. They have their honeymoon in Switzerland, and unfortunately, the honeymoon wears off and they start bickering again. He kind of falls back into the same pattern. So I think this is when Alma realizes that, like, oh fuck, this isn't like a one and done sort of thing. Like, it's going to be almost a ritual.
Yeah. She realizes exactly that's the case. The whole Switzerland trip. The thing that kind of, well, I'll just be honest, the thing that inspired me was to want to see this movie, to want to do this movie for our other podcast, was I was on, whether I don't know if it was YouTube or if it was Instagram, but there was a short clip of her eating from the spoon where she's biting it with her fucking teeth and scraping it, and he's now married to her, and they're there in the Swiss Alps or whatever. He's watching her, and it's almost like he's mouthing the thing that she's doing. He's like, and just so distasteful to him.
Yeah.
What the fuck did I do? What did I?
What
You
have
did
I
already
done?
see. What have I done? So that, and the caption for that particular clip was something like how his acting, just the subtle acting, his facial expressions through that scene just say so much, and it just grabs you. There's no words spoken, but it just
The
gets
way he
you.
clenches his jaw, grits his teeth, and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
grits his teeth, and he's just kind of.
She's so not attractive right now. That's what he's
I
thinking.
was like, exactly, and I was just like, wow, this one glimpse of this movie is just one of so many in the movie, and if he can convey that with such simple facial expressions, just how much more impact. I forgot what this movie was like. I want to feel this again. Let's go, let's do this.
Right. So that doctor is eventually who we find out that Alma is narrating to. It seems like she's narrating, but she's just kind of almost like recounting her experience meeting Reynolds. And this is kind of an interesting point in the movie where Sarah tells Reynolds that Lady Harding is no longer their client. She's now a client of like a rival fashion house. She's almost like kind of putting down his design. She's like, maybe, you need to start like come up with different ideas because your designs are starting to get old and it's kind of driving people away. And so, Reynolds is a creature of habit and he doesn't like hearing that. And he's kind of blaming Alma for fucking up his routine.
Projecting, yeah.
He almost like wants to divorce her right then and there. He's putting all the blame on her, and he's saying that she doesn't fit in this house. And
right, she walks into the dining room as he's fucking talking shit behind her back.
I think he knows, though. I think he knows that he can like hear her walk in, and he doesn't give a fuck. He wants her to hear. Turns around, he's not shocked to see her. He just like storms right out.
He's not, but at the same time, I almost wonder if he's so proud he wouldn't admit that he fucked up. So it's almost like he just kind of looks over and is just like, well, I said it, so whatever.
I said what I said.
I said what I said, and I said it. And I'd say it again.
Yeah. I feel like Cyril has probably the most patience out of anyone in this entire movie because she's had to put up with that shit as long as she can remember, And I feel like she, at some point in the movie, she kind of started feeling sympathetic for Alma and actually began liking her as a person.
Yeah.
I don't think she's in favor of getting rid of Alma. She actually likes her.
Yeah, exactly.
How crazy is that? Now you got two people against Reynolds.
Mm-hmm. And he fucking realizes it now. He's like, fuck, Cyril's always been on his side.
Yeah, I feel like, thinking back now, I feel like seeing Alma stand up to Reynolds and stand up for herself, maybe that gave Cyril the confidence to do the same to Reynolds, because I don't think she's ever spoken to Reynolds like that before.
She tells him, she straight up fucking put him on his back.
She did.
She fucking lets him have it. He is beside himself, like, what the fuck? And she's like, don't. I forget exactly the words that she says exactly, but fuck. And she takes a sip of her coffee or tea or whatever she's having, and she's like, I will put you flat on your back. Don't you dare.
I'll tell you straight up what I feel, and you don't want to hear it, so don't come at me like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. So just before the next part here, before we move on, there's the whole, I want to say this is the New Year's Eve scene. It's around that time.
Is the Dick Clark Rockin' Eve?
The Rockin' Eve, yeah. My favorite outfit that he that's in the movie is what he wears, not there, but at night around that time. And I don't remember if it is at that same New Year's Eve, or if it's somewhere soon after. Mm-hmm. But he's got a robe on underneath, right? So he's got the robe, then he's got a knitted vest. So he's got robe, knit vest, and then his suit, his jacket, and just and he's got his silk scarf, ascot or whatever that is. It's like this beautiful silk scarf underneath the pajamas as well.
Mm-hmm.
That whole ensemble, I was like, what the fuck? That is so sick. It's just sort of like this. I don't know. It's got these like really sick vibes. I really, really liked it. It's not, I wouldn't say that it was baggy, but it was just so careful. It's almost looks so carelessly put together that it looks like it was carefully put together. If you
Interesting.
know, very intentional, like so stylish still.
So this get up here.
Yes. That was my favorite ensemble for sure.
So he's
That's
got
it,
this
man.
like plaid blazer with that vest that's like buttoned only at the top, and then his PJs underneath.
It's like lavender PJs, but can you see the scarf? You could see the scarf
Yeah.
underneath it. It's just, it's fucking sick, dude. I was so surprised by how much I liked that. I was like, wow.
You're feeling it.
Yeah. You wouldn't wear that out, obviously, but it was just classy. He's got his pajamas on and he still puts on a fucking coat.
That's the way to do it, man.
And it's stylish. It's not navy. It's just plaid.
Since you had brought up the Dick Clark Rockin' Eve party that she wanted to go to, because I think the doctor was the one that was almost like planting that seed in her mind, like, oh, so what are you guys doing for New Year's? And she was like, I don't know, probably stay inside because that's what we always do. We're gonna be having this huge get together at this location. You should come. And she's just like, I don't know, I'll run it by Reynolds. She asks Reynolds, and he's like, fuck no, I ain't going to that. What the hell? And so she's like, well, I'm gonna go. She actually leaves, and he's kind of appalled that she ended up leaving him.
He does this look down the hall where the camera is way down the hall, and he leans just like, did she really go? And then he proceeds to pace. It's just so delicious. The whole fucking movie is so fun. So then you watch him just kind of pacing and kind of thinking about it. He's not like mad, but he's just kind of like, there's this almost like anxiety, like, do I go, or do I do the thing that I was gonna do, or like, but she's gonna go dancing, and then that doctor's probably, you're kind of thinking the things that he's thinking. And so
I didn't quite know how to interpret the scene. So when he finally makes it out there and he's looking for her, right, he's scanning the crowd and he finally spots her and she's having a good old time. What did you think of this? Like, did he seem like he was pissed off at her, or did he feel bad that she was having fun without him, or what was really going on here?
It's a really good question. I don't know. I don't know if he was, I don't know what he was expecting to see. I think maybe he was a little afraid that the doctor would be there, because that fucking, the doctor's like aunt or whoever she was to him at the party, the one whose house they were at, was kind of planting those seeds in his head that there's some sort of attraction between her and between Alma and her nephew. And so it's almost like that then made him insecure.
But like, the doctor was married or had a girlfriend or something, right? And wasn't she flirting with Reynolds? And they were almost like at that dinner, they're sitting apart. And so the doctor is sitting next to Alma and they're kind of like hitting it off.
Yeah, I don't think it was going both ways. I think that the doctor was attracted to her, and I think she was I think Alma was humoring him, but I didn't feel that it was reciprocated. And yet the interpretation of his aunt at the head of at the far end of the table talking to Reynolds was, she's the snob. She's the snob that we thought Reynolds would be. But no, she's basically, oh, I see this, oh gosh, she's basically plebeian filth kind of thing. Oh gosh, I see this all the time, and look at her, she's doing this, look at her, she's doing that, and it's just sort of like, I don't know if it's actually working on him, but it's certainly making him question things.
Yeah.
And then, oh, look at them. Oh, they're certainly getting along really well, but that's not necessarily what was happening. It's just that was what her interpretation was, and now it's giving him pause. So it's in that context that she hears about this New Year's Eve party with this doctor. He's not for it, and then now he's got to go down there.
Shit like that always happens when you and your girl are kind of in a rough spot. That's when like someone else happens to be there at the right time and is like, hey, like, you're looking good today, what's going on? The universe always just wants to fucking throw a wrench into everything.
Put a little tension in there, help you to grow, help you both to grow in some way.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, I just want, things were going all right, So he goes there to the New Year's thing, and they have this sort of standoff, this sort of stare off when she finally she fell over at a certain point because people were drunk, and she's dancing around, dancing, just dancing in a big circle, sort of like a Mayday kind of thing, around not really around a flagpole, but they're all holding hands. It seems like almost like a
Dude, this is a huge venue. They got these huge
massive, like a theater
statues and shit moving around, almost like a float sort of centerpiece thing.
But she ends up off the dance floor after she falls and something tears, I think, on the dress. She ends up off to the side.
Yep.
That's where he's at, and then they have this sort of stare off. He's like peering inquisitively at her, and she's just sullen and angry.
Oh, it's you again. What do you want, Grump?
Yeah, Grumple Stillskin. It's more like she's hurt. Sort of like she wanted to have fun, and she doesn't want to be feeling guilty about wanting to go out and having fun. But it's so much that's just not said. It's just left to you to see between the two of them, and it's a long silence between them.
This could have easily been a magical night for them, right? But he's stuck in his ways, and he likes things to be a certain way. He don't want to be spontaneous for her. And it sucks because this is a far cry from where we saw when the lady that he made the dress for, and she was all drunk, and and she kind of like needs to be carried off, and almost like that bitch does not deserve to be in your dress.
She got carried off the fucking floor on her wedding night. She gets carried out of the fucking place, and she's like incensed, which by the way, that's another really beautiful dress that she's wearing, that black lacy number Alma is wearing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That was them coming together. I had that in my notes too, and I was like, oh good, I'm glad we're going back there. Yeah. The fact that they were in, like, he was just he was pissed, but he's just accepting it, and it's just like, well, people are people, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And she's like, no, she represents you, that's your name, this is your reputation.
I loved this dynamic because Reynolds would have just sat there and been like, ugh, I can't believe my dress is on her, but like almost like, fuck that, no, we're taking that back, she doesn't deserve it. Really? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Really? She fucking goes in there and takes it off that bitch.
Yep.
She's like, no, fuck this. She goes, you something like, how you choose to life is your business, but you will not be doing it wearing a dress from the House of Woodcock.
House of Woodcock. So much sass when she says that. And
they're like making out as they're walking down the road back to their car. Just he's so swept up in it, just like, yes, you get it. You get you appreciate.
That was just like super sexy for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what made it so sad to see at that party, that New Year's party, because they went from that high point to like where they are now, and they're just not in sync right now.
Yeah, they're at odds. He's got his doubts about her now. It's still hanging in the air that he voiced this to Cyril in the dining room.
Yeah,
about him wanting Cyril to excuse Alma. I think it's time. I think it's time to do that. And so this is still not dealt with.
Yeah. They're in a rough patch right now.
They're in a rough patch, and now this just adds fuel to that fire. And so
a lot of tension.
Tension is building to, oh my gosh, it's
about to boil over.
About to boil over. And then there's dinner.
Well, this is like a breakfast, I think, right?
Oh, is it breakfast? Yeah, that's right. She makes him an omelet.
Yeah.
But it's in such a dark area. It's in the kitchen, I suppose.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, this is a really tense scene because they're in the same kitchen, but like across the room from each other, and no one's saying anything. No one's even like acknowledging the other. And Alma's making Reynolds the omelet, and she's like, "Oh, time to bust out the guild mushrooms again."
But she puts in so much more this time than she did in the tea. She puts so much, and he's just scowling at her from the corner, just like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like he just doesn't. He both doesn't trust her and is angry and is wounded, just like looking at her from the corner like a wounded animal as he's drawing his sketches, but also going like, what the fuck is she doing? What the fuck is she up to?
So resentful.
Yeah. And she's doing her thing, and she's being resentful sort of as well. Like, I'm about to fucking give you what's what with these mushrooms. With butter on top of herself. Yeah. Fuck that. You don't like oil? She puts
2 chunks of butter, and they're like, oh, here's another one. Boom. Choke on that shit.
Choke on that one, baby.
And I kind of like this overhead shot, because it's like this close-up overhead shot of the omelet being made, and like the ingredients kind of being poured in, and everything kind of solidifying. You're taking up all the textures of the food that she's preparing right now. She even like gives him this like fucking death stare sort of thing. Like she's like, as she's stirring the mushrooms and the eggs and stuff, she kind of like looks over her shoulder and she just kind of like gives him that side eye.
She gives him side eye, but she gives him like a little polite smile. It's like tight lip.
I think she picked up on how she was coming off, so she was like, "Oh, let me put on this fake smile for you."
Yeah, but exactly, because it's looking like she's gonna poison him. He's like watching her askance, and he's like, "She's probably gonna poison me." And she's like, "I'm gonna poison him." And then she looks over. Oh,
oh that's my dear husband over there.
This is coming off as I'm about to poison him.
And she plops it on the plate, and sure enough, those mushrooms are all up in there. They're not hiding.
And he takes that first bite.
He's hesitant though, right? So he kind of cuts it, and he keeps like glancing up at her, and she's just like, attentively like just standing over him, blank look on her face. Tense scene. It was awkward.
Oh, so fucking tense.
I think that's when he was putting two and two together. Like, I think this bitch is poisoning me.
Yep.
But then he still takes the bite, which was like, this is where I'm like, wait, what the fuck? He still puts it in his mouth, and he's like looking at her, almost like accepting her challenge. Right, like, yes. I know you're poisoning me, and I'm not gonna back down from this shit. And he like takes that bite, savors it, doing that slow chew.
Oh, he's just exactly
maintaining eye contact.
Challenge accepted.
The movie kind of takes a turn that I wasn't expecting here.
Right.
He chews that bite, he's savoring it, and then she informs him, admits, to him right here that, yeah, I've been poisoning you because I want you weak and vulnerable. I can take care of you. And then they fucking just start making out.
Oh, dude. Because he gets that she gets him in a way that he didn't even realize he needed her. He's like, what does he say to her? He says, "Kiss me, my girl, before I'm sick."
Yeah. Wow. I was not expecting this movie to go that direction.
Right? He sees the bigger picture. He sees this bigger picture of she fits his needs perfectly. She sees him so well, and she gets him to be where he needs to be in order to really do his best and be completely himself. He
can continue producing at the highest level, but like, because he doesn't know how to be affectionate. That's why I think he has mommy issues, because maybe his mom didn't show him any affection. Right. So she's essentially helping him help her. And I think now it's like making sense. Like it's clicking. Like he's just like, son of a bitch.
There it is. She's on another level. And I didn't even realize that she's doing this and it's working. She really cares about me. She cares about me so much. She's willing to make me so sick that I need her. And she'll take care of me. She'll be what I want, what I need whenever I'm really feeling low.
That makes sense. Like it's kind of making sense to me now, talking it through, where Alma's getting obviously what she wants, because like he's being more affectionate towards her. He's also getting what he wants because he's being taken care of. Like he's allowing her to take care of him. Normally he's too strong and proud and he won't allow it to happen. But in that state, he's actually getting what he really wants, which is that affection from a woman, right?
And to have that come down, because he's redlining it. Otherwise, he will drive himself until the wheels fall off, and that can come whenever. I mean, it can be a long time. So the fact that it's regulated by somebody, that he can trust her, that she'll see when the time comes that he needs to be regulated, because he can then be. Again, this is such a beautiful relationship, in that although it seems so fucking twisted at the same time. He is who he is, and because he'll be so caught up in his own work, he won't see that he needs to back off. She can be the person that helps him to, whether he realizes it or not, that this is the time when this needs to happen, and I need to get sick for a little bit. Yeah. He'll be oblivious to it because he'll just be an ornery asshole, thinking that this is justified. I'm justified being this way. And then all of a sudden he'll be sick and he'll be like, oh, okay, I caught myself slipping. I was being a dickhead. So yeah, it's a strange love story. It is.
That was a crazy climax to this movie.
Right.
Wow. All right.
The fact that she just says it, and I was just like, the first time I saw it, I was just like, oh my gosh. But then she reveals the whole thing.
Yeah, she reveals her cards right there.
Because you're still not sure if the first time she made him sick, was she trying to kill him? And is she now just
Right.
going like, oh, well, that didn't work, so I'm just gonna no. Then you realize from day one she wasn't trying to kill him. She was doing what
Mhm.
she thought was best for him, and in the end, it turns out to be exactly what was best for him.
And it seems like she has a better gauge on the effects of the mushrooms now, because I think she almost has it like more dialed in, and she knows what's like a safe spot for him to be in.
Yeah, the first time she got him sick, it only lasted that night.
Hmm.
And so she pushes the envelope this time because there's so much more mushrooms in it than just what could be put in a little tea diffuser. Instead, she fucking chunks of it, and you see just how many she is. And so you begin to wonder as the audience, is she gonna fucking kill him this time? Is she
I
that
thought she was going
fucking
to.
bro? I remember the same thing. That's why I was like, you got to see this movie, man, because it's so intriguing, that all the way up to the very end, because that's it. And then after that happens, then it's the resolution,
Yeah.
and it's done in less than 15 minutes. But like, kiss me before I'm sick, right? They kiss, and then he says, oh, I think I will. Like, it's almost like a joke because he so wholeheartedly trusts her. He's like, I think I will take the doctor on this one to a certain extent. I don't know, like, you're no doctor, and you're just gauging this based on what experience you have had with these
I
mushrooms
think you
since
gave me
doing this to me before.
a couple too many this time.
Maybe you did, and we just want to make sure that we're not running this experiment off the rails here. And the doctor sees everything's just fine, so it's like, okay, cool. And then now she's talking, she's narrating, and there's this bassinet. She's pushing this like with bassinet or stroller. It's this old school looking 1950s style stroller. It's beautiful, and so she's already projecting into the future what this is going to be like for them.
So that's what it was, because I didn't realize that she was imagining it. I thought this was actually happening. Like they were just showing like a montage of their life
Well,
now.
I think that's what I gathered from it this time. It could be that they do actually have a kid. That's what I was going to actually broach with you. I thought that it was sort of a dream sequence, because I thought he cut in. There's a point where she's talking, and then I thought that Reynolds cut in, because now she's no
Oh,
longer narrating it to the doctor. When you finally see the very, very last scene before credits roll, she's there with him, and they're before a fireplace,
right.
and it's just the two of them. So I'm not sure if maybe the kid was put away to sleep, and the baby's asleep and all that stuff. But
I think it made more sense that it was like a fantasy almost, because I felt like
yeah,
it was going through these scenes pretty quickly, and it wasn't even
okay,
allowing me enough time to like even understand or digest what was happening.
yeah,
So I'm like, wait,
yeah,
where the fuck does baby come from? And Cyril is babysitting and shit in the
yeah.
park, and they're like dancing at this like New Year's party somewhere in the future. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, when is all this happening? So it made sense that she was like, I think I kind of see like where this might go, where
Yeah.
this might lead us.
Mm-hmm. And she says something that is like the last that narration is so beautiful, so poetic. She's essentially saying, we've known each other for forever, and I'll wherever we come from, no matter what, when we die, I just have to find him again. And that so the quote she says is something like, and for whatever there is on the road that follows from here, it would only require my patience to get to him again.
In some ways, that's not unlike the Notebook.
Huh. Yeah, true.
It's going to be different each time. So sometimes it might be quicker. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer. But,
Mm.
you're always going to be able to reach them again. And it's worth going through the rough patch to get there, because the payout is worth it, right?
Right. Wow, that's a great analogy. I hadn't even thought about that connection. That's cool. That's really weird though. That's an interesting synchronicity that you brought up, because talking to a really dear friend of mine, we've just kind of started talking again. We went to college together in Connecticut. Didn't know each other too well back then, but she said something about. I said, what did you know about me then? Because I feel like I didn't know her. I feel like I was a sort of a public figure then,
Hmm.
and so I feel like people could think that they knew me, even though I didn't really know them, or maybe they could know me and I just didn't really know who they were. And she said that something about my laugh, that she met me at the table, was introduced to me when I was there with some friends. One friend who actually moved from Connecticut is out here. He's a stand-up comedian in
Oh,
LA,
shit.
and we used to fucking cut it up, dude. We fucking said some hilarious shit, and so I was laughing my ass off at the table when she first met me. So she said she remembered that
You have
about
such
me.
a demure laugh.
um,
You
uh,
got,
and
you got to do that laugh from Back to the Future. Marty's dad.
Oh my gosh.
So obnoxious.
Oh gosh. But the other thing she remembered was the sad piano music that I was playing, and at the time I had been taking I took just a few piano lessons, but there was one song in particular that stuck out to me, and it was so funny because it was so cliche, and yet it was something I never would have known. So this girl that I fell in love with in college, she told me about The Notebook, and I was like, oh my gosh, that movie, that chick flick, and
So
that's what I
corny.
thought, at least. But when she said it right, exactly when she said it, she said, no, you should see it. So she lent me her copy, and I was like, all right, I'll watch it. So I watched it by myself, and I was like, I got all choked up. I just remember thinking, wow, that's so cool. But I remember the reason why. That's right. The reason why she said, one day I was playing some piano piece, and she said to me, were you playing The Notebook? Were you playing the theme from The Notebook? And I was like, no, I wasn't playing the theme from The Notebook. I've never seen that movie before. And she's like, oh, it's good. So I practiced it. So I got the sheet music for it, and I learned it. I learned the piano piece, the theme of the Notebook. So that's really weird. It's really kind of funny that you made that connection.
Dang, do you still remember how to play?
Some of it. Yeah, some of it.
And that is a wrap on Phantom Thread. If you made it to the end of our podcast, then you just had your own custom dress made to fit your perfect body.
Mwah. Chef's kiss.
Any final thoughts or closing comments?
Dude, I'm so stoked. So stoked that you wanted to see this movie, that you were totally down, because this is so not Twin Peaks. This isn't any of the other crazy shit that we've been watching in the past. And this is something that's near and dear to my heart. This movie got me right between the eyes up until that scene, right? The climax where she fucking confesses to his face as he's about to be sick what she did, and the fact that he reciprocates.
Yeah.
It was such an unexpected turn that I thought, if anything, I hope this guy appreciates that. So yeah, that's one of my final thoughts. The fashion was dope. Reynolds is such a cool character. He's just he's a cool guy. Don't want to there's something, the genius and the crazy person, right? There's that fine line that he kind of walks. And the music, please, for God's sakes,
so
Johnny
elegant
Greenwood.
all throughout the movie.
Yeah, so elegant. And that theme that comes through, yeah.
Like you said, the climax is crazy. I thought maybe he was going to end up dying from being poisoned so many damn times, or like maybe Alma will kill him and take over the business or some shit, something like that. Or maybe like Reynolds might catch on and end up killing Alma instead, preemptively. So I don't know. I felt like it could have gone a few different ways.
Yeah,
that was the one that I least expected.
The tension, right? But then when it resolves, you go, it couldn't have been any other way. This absolutely makes sense. She wasn't malicious, and this wasn't going to be a murder movie mystery type of thing. And she's got to flee the country, but it's fun the way that Paul Thomas Anderson flirts with it, where you don't fucking know what's exactly going to happen,
right? And in some twisted way, basically lived happily ever after.
Exactly. She fantasizes about babies and all that.
What did you think about the messages sewn into the dresses? Like, I wonder what those are truly about. And the film doesn't really focus on that a whole lot.
No, but I love it. I love it because it's his.
I know it's one of them for sure said Alma on it when he first met her, I think.
Yes, one said Alma.
And I don't even think it was for a dress for Alma. I think it was for someone else.
It's almost like he's imbuing it with her spirit, so to speak, like something of her essence, to have her name sewn in by his hand.
In some way, if they really take care of the dress, Alma could live on forever through that dress.
Yeah, in some way, you're right. Absolutely.
Maybe this is like the ultimate act of respect from his part, is that if he really cares about you, then he's going to put you in the dress so that way you can continue living on forever.
Exactly. I think he imbues a little of, he's almost like an alchemist of some sort. Like he's weaving this into people's lives, and he makes magic happen. He puts never cursed for the wedding dress. Cyril helped him to make his mom's wedding dress. No woman would touch it because there's the curse of if you make another person's wedding dress, the fact that you touched it and all that stuff means you're never going to get married. So I don't know if it was necessary. Now that I think of it, never cursed. I wonder if that was intended just for the seamstresses, any woman working on the dress, to not be cursed, not necessarily for the wearer of the dress for the
With the
princess.
seamstresses, okay, could see that. Before we start recording the episode, I already let you know ahead of time that I was going to ask you the question at some point. So, out of all the designs, there's a lot of designs in the movie. Which dress was your favorite?
Yeah, I still think it's the wedding dress, the design of the wedding dress itself, with the lace
The one
and
that he
everything,
fucks
and
up when he falls on?
the one that he fucks up and then brings back. I was just the whole design. I loved it. If I was gonna say there was outside of that, what I was before I even mentioned before we start talking about that wedding dress, the green dress. I liked the green dress with the black, whatever that was, shawl.
Nice, yeah.
Over the
Kinda
shoulders for
draped.
Alma.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked that. Love the clean lines. Love the fact that it's a green dress and there's a poem. And so it's near and dear to my heart, that green dress. And so it's outside of the movie itself. That green dress just has powerful meaning for me.
Oh yeah.
This one poem. What about you? What was your favorite dress?
Oh dude, it wasn't the first dress, obviously, that he made her, because that one was like that magenta one, but and it was, there wasn't much to it, right? It was just kind of flat. This one actually was my favorite. So the second one, I think once she's kind of like proven herself, he's gonna make her another dress. So it's actually the second dress he makes her, and he asks her, "What do you like?" And she was like, "I like lace." And then he makes this bad boy, and I was like, "Bro, she looks fire in this dress."
Yeah,
it's kind of like a pink, like a light pink, with the lace.
That pink
Oh
dress,
man,
gorgeous.
I think that looked stunning on that actress.
Look at that. The what is that? Would you call that? I don't know if that's the right term, chiffon, but the fact that it's just draped so effortlessly over the arm of that chase. Yeah,
and it's
it
got
looks like
lace
cotton
down at the
candy.
bottom too.
Oh yeah.
See, so this one has a little bit more character to it than the initial one.
It does.
So I always thought that first one was kind of like the trial run, and if she passed that one, then she was going to get something that took a little bit more effort and something that she actually liked. Because instead of him choosing a dress for her, what he thought looked good on her, he allowed her to kind of like give her input into what the next dress was going to be. And I think in a lot of ways, like that's why it looks so good on her, is because Alma was able to say like, "Hey, I kind of like lace. Let's put some of that
what
on
I like
there."
on me. That one was fire. Good call. Great choice.
Well, are you watching anything lately, film or TV?
Yeah. So I'm reading The Alchemist right now, but I'm rereading it, I should say. I read it like 4 years ago, and it's so good. Little notes to myself in the book, and I'm like, oh wow, I got that from this when I first read it. It's kind of funny to revisit.
Back in, okay.
Diving back in, yeah. Good book sometimes is worth rereading a few times. So it's a short book too. So when I'm not doing that, the other thing that I started doing was watching the second season of Severance.
Ooh, okay.
I haven't watched it before. I have not seen. This is my first go through for the second season.
Okay.
So
so you haven't seen season 2 at all?
Not at all. Not at all.
Shit.
And people, and my cousin, when I went to his he lives up in the Sacramento area. I drove up there for his baby shower. He and his wife are having twins. So when I went up there, he got to talking to me about Severance at one point, and he was like, "Dude, we gotta watch it." So it's the baby shower night. Everyone's gone to bed. All the guests have left and everything, and I'm spending the night there. And he fucking puts it on, and we both fall asleep. So the next morning we start episode 1 all over again. We gotta rewatch it, man. I said I don't even remember when I fell asleep, so let's just start it all over from the beginning. So,
which I mean, it pretty much just dives right back in from where season 1 left off.
She's alive.
And
just crazy.
I love that effect. Like does that zoom in when they're kind of like shifting?
Yeah, it's like this rack focus where it's like a wide angle lens, and they either it's a wide angle lens from afar, and they kind of from up close, and then they dolly away, and then they like zoom in, so like everything becomes real flat looking.
Right.
So then his head looks like it's like broader, and then they do the same thing opposite when he's coming back into the real world, and the dolly shot they pull in, and then they go back to a wide angle lens and go from telephoto to that.
Nice.
From my past at the Art Institute, I learned a few things here or there.
I kind of wonder if when that show's completed, should we cover that one? We haven't done a TV show in a while, and Steph loves Severance as well.
Oh, dude, absolutely, absolutely. I would love to cover that show. That show is a modern classic in and of its own right, dude. That show is confusing as fuck. It's unsettling.
So refreshing though, like the ideas and like these like liminal spaces where it's just like hallways and offices, right? With like no
Yeah,
distinction. What the fuck is
yeah.
this place, and what is this company?
And these characters, you'd almost feel a little, I don't know, you'd be a little too concerned about seeing, looking behind the curtain, seeing who some of these characters, what their personal lives are like.
Well, for me, I saw a couple movies in theaters. So I saw Roof Man. Have you heard of this one?
Roof Man,
Yeah,
nah.
it's kind of a weird title, but it's loosely based off of actual events. It's about this guy who he's a like a army veteran or something, and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't really know kind of like what to do with his life, and his life is kind of falling apart. He's not able to support his family, so he resorts to breaking into fast food places. So he climbs on the roof and like hatches through the roof and steals money from the safe or whatever, and
Oh,
that's kind of what he does. Like that's his thing. So the news anchors or something kind of labeled him Roof Man. Oh, the Roof Man strikes again, sort of thing. Basically, the premise is like he almost gets caught breaking into like a McDonald's, and so he has to flee. And so the closest thing, this is like back in like either late 90s or early 2000s,
oh,
he has to flee because the cops are showing up. The closest thing is a fucking Toys R Us. So he breaks into the Toys R Us and like basically lives there for a year undetected.
what the fuck? This movie was made in that time period?
It takes place back then.
Oh, it takes
Yeah,
place
yeah,
back then, but this was something that was just released in
yeah.
theaters.
So it's kind of comical, but it's like a dramedy in a way.
Who's the main character?
The main character is played by Channing Tatum.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the love interest is Kirsten Dunst, and they actually surprisingly have some pretty good chemistry. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling the vibe between them. I was like, that's not a bad looking couple, actually.
Right on. Okay. Okay.
So there's that, and then the other one I saw in theaters, which was this is also kind of like it's more comedy than anything, but there's some dramatic moments in it. Was Good Fortune.
Good Fortune.
That's the one
Not
with Keanu
familiar.
Reeves, Seth Rogen, and Aziz Ansari.
Oh, okay. Right. And Aziz like wrote the whole thing, I
Yeah,
think.
this is his directorial debut, if I recall.
This is how you eat it.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves is like this guardian angel. He's kind of a dumbass and he doesn't quite know what he's doing. And so he's like trying to help,
Okay.
but like he's like making things worse. He's almost like ruined these guys' lives. And so yeah, it's just fun. Like I like their dynamic.
Okay. Wow. Good Fortune. Okay. So Good Fortune and Roof Man. Dope.
And this weekend, boy oh boy, got a banger for the 40th anniversary in IMAX. Brenda and I are going to be seeing Back to the Future.
Oh, for the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, it was re-released, or it's being re-released and remastered for IMAX.
Wow.
So I'm stoked. I love that movie.
That's a classic.
Can't go wrong. Are we still doing Carolyn's? Are we doing the meetup?
Oh, yeah.
The crew's always down.
Hell
Gunner was
yeah.
asking about it, so.
I just saw him today too.
Oh, have you? Yeah, we gotta make it happen because I know he was asking about it. Eric's gonna be there, of course. You can't stay away from the coffee cake for too long.
Coffee. Yeah, dude. And I got to get me my keto omelet
There you go.
down.
You can find us wherever you normally get your podcasts. New episodes drop on the first Saturday of each month, 5 a.m. Pacific. If you like what you heard, leave us a like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you all for listening and joining Michael and myself. This has been Aflixionados Podcast, episode 61, Phantom Thread, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.